Whew, it's freaking chilly in Texas. It's like 20 degrees outside, which for Texas is if it's like shut down the entire state because we've got like a quarter inch of ice next to buildings. So pretty much the whole state is shut down right now. But today is going to be a good day to teach you guys a real quick little trick. It's how to use your cell phone, anybody's cell phone, and an app. And I don't even know what app I'm going to use right now, but I'm going to show you how to use your phone to diagnose an engine that has low compression in one cylinder. There's two different ways to do it. I'm gonna go ahead and open the door and fire up the Dodge because I think I've got low compression in one cylinder on the Dodge, unfortunately, because it just doesn't sound right. It runs and drives okay, but at idle, let's just use the this little mechanic trick and find out what happens. Icy. Okay, so you can hear it when it cranks over. It makes this na 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 na, and what you're hearing is you're hearing the actual engine. The starter is spinning the engine over a little faster in one particular area than the rest. I'm gonna put something up on camera right now and show you the sound wave, what it looks like. So if you look at the sound wave, you're gonna see a spike. And that spike is when, like I said, the engine, because there's low compression, the starter can actually spin the crank over, spin the pistons over a little faster on one particular cylinder because there's not as much force as the other 7 cylinders or 5 cylinders or whatever you're working on. So how you do this with your cell phone is you take your cell phone out, make an audio recording, and then use an app to view the actual sound. I don't know what kind of phone you guys have. If you got an Android, an iPhone, an Apple or whatever, it doesn't matter. Just download any free version of an audio editor program and that'll let you see the actual sound wave. I disabled this truck and I'm still smoking out the exhaust. I'm gonna go ahead and re-enable the truck, crank it up and let you guys listen to it, and you can hear when it's cold, it kind of has a little bit of a mist. So get it fired up. And I also do a cold weather start. It's like 24 degrees, like I said, so this truck hasn't ran in about a week. One of the great things about having sons is they leave beef jerky all over the place, including in my truck. Now I got me a little snack. So I'm hoping the microphone on the camera picked up and let you guys hear that. There's just a funny noise that wasn't there before. It's kind of this like metallic, and I don't know exactly what it is. I might just be overanalyzing it, but that works in any kind of situation. It doesn't matter if it's diesel, gas, if it's equipment. If you can spin the engine over, crank it over without it starting and listen to it, especially when it's cold, you should hear a very consistent yin 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 yin, and you should not hear a yin 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 yin. That little speed up, that little skip is an indicator that you've got low compression. When anybody ever calls me and they ask my opinion about, I'm looking at this car, I'm looking at this truck, what should I look for? And I go, first thing I tell them is have an actual mechanic check it out. If I'm in the area, you know, for a small fee, I'll come out and I'll check it out. I'm not going to drive out to, 40 miles away, check out your vehicle for an hour, then drive back an hour just to help you out. Sorry, I like money too. Anytime you're going to purchase a vehicle or inspect a vehicle or try to figure out, is the engine any good? A very good indicator is to come up, open the hood, put your hand on the engine, see if the engine's warm. If it's warm, ask them if they can leave it alone. Don't start it, don't move it for about an hour or two. For a diesel, it's probably going to be around 2 hours. For a gasoline engine, probably about an hour. And then come back and put your hand on the engine again and make sure that the engine's cold. If you can disable the ignition system easily, then go ahead and disable the ignition system and crank it over and listen. It's very simple to do on a Ford 7.3 and 6.0. There's just one wire over on the passenger side. You just touch it to the positive terminal on a battery. On these Dodges, at least the common rails or anything with a CP3 pump, you can just disconnect the FCA, fueling control solenoid, or whatever you want to call it, the fuel solenoid on the actual CP3 pump itself. You unplug that. Now, when you do unplug that on a Dodge, you're going to set a check engine light, but if you got a scan tool, you can erase it. There's not really an easy way to crank a 24 valve Cummins over, or newer ones over, without tripping some sort of check engine light. So if you're not able to crank it and listen to it, you're not able to disable the ignition system or the fuel system, then you're just going to have to kind of play it by ear, and hopefully when it cranks over, it spins a few times and you can listen to it. Once it starts up, and it's a cold startup, you listen to the engine very, very intently. Get out of the vehicle, open the hood, take the oil cap off, and then see if you have any blow-by. Now on this Dodge, I've done that. Take the oil cap off, there's zero blow-by. So I don't know if I have low compression or maybe an injector issue, or most likely I am just being a hypochondriac when it comes to mechanical problems on my Dodge, just expecting a problem. Well guys, I hope that helps you out in a pinch. Use the app on the phone. Like I said, I didn't list any apps just because there's a dozen or so apps on each kind of phone, and I'm not going to go into it. You just need to find any sort of audio editor or any sort of video editor. Video editing program will have the audio waveform on the bottom that you can zoom in and see. Zoom in as close as you can, and if you have a 6-cylinder engine, then just look at 6 peaks, and if you have an 8-cylinder, then 8. You can use that handy little method to figure out if it's got low compression. Now that is a very quick seat of the pants. The actual way you want to do a compression on anything is use a compression gauge, but on diesels, it's a real pain in the butt. You have to pull an injector, you have to put a tool into the cylinder, which requires removing rockers and rocker covers and all kinds of other stuff. So it's really an in-depth process. So this little, just crank it over and listen for the skip is the best, most effective way that I know of to get a very quick diagnosis. Those of you that are familiar with an oscilloscope, you're basically doing the exact same thing with an oscilloscope. You can watch the current or the amp draw go up, 6, 8 times, how many cylinders you have, and see which one has the least amount of amps, and that'll tell you which cylinder it is. And if you're really fancy, you can hook it up to the crank trigger and you can actually figure out what cylinder specifically has that misfire. And I know some scan tools have that ability too, but it's an ability that's usually on newer vehicles, and I'm not going to get into it with this. If you guys got any tips for anything that I left out, please leave them down in the comments. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. And I want to personally thank Iron Man, one of my subscribers that gave me an idea for my new motto to finish up my videos. Get out and fix it.